Thursday, of course, so it is time for Talking Kids with Dr. Caitlynn, Lexington pediatrician Dr. Caitlynn Iddings, with us this morning as always.
Today we're talking about sun safety ahead of spring break. Good morning, Doc. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Yes, I know it's kind of crazy to be thinking about that with the up and down weather we've had, very cold starts, but spring break is nearly upon us.
Yeah, and I already saw, last weekend was really windy, but actually very sunny too. And
yes, there was a lot of sun
this week with some pretty significant sunburns because they didn't
really?
think about it. Yeah, so it does
really?
happen.
People that were here? I was thinking they traveled to Florida and came back with sunburn.
People that were, reffing soccer games and, just
you
didn't
don't think about it. Yeah, when the temperature doesn't seem to match the amount of sunshine.
Right, and when it's cloudy, that's a big thing that happens with kids and parents. It's like, oh, it's cloudy, you'll be fine. And then, they don't remember that like 80% of those UV rays get through the clouds. So
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about sun safety. What do you want parents to know as they maybe, even if they're staying here, but especially if they're going somewhere,
Yeah, so the big thing we're going to touch on today is mainly sunscreen, right? So, and there are different types of screens, right? So even like clothing is a sunscreener, right? And so for under age 6 months, we don't recommend sunscreen unless it's just a mineral-based zinc oxide, something like that, that won't be absorbed into the skin just because their skin is so much more sensitive and thinner. They've shown that any blistering sunburn under age 2 increases your risk for melanoma ×2. And then any blistering sunburn 5 times in your life also does the same thing. So it's especially important to make sure that we're protecting babies and little ones because their skin is just so much different than when we become adults. So really for under 6 months of age, we don't recommend sunscreen. We recommend, long sleeves, rash guards, hats, keeping them in the shade as much as possible, avoiding those high UV hours, which are between 10 a.m. and really 4 p.m., but at least 2 p.m. So keeping them more in the shade. And one thing to also remember that people don't sometimes think about is if you're under a shaded structure, but you have a pool or a lake or something by you, those rays can bounce off the pool. So I've had little ones come in before and they're like, we don't know how they got burned. We were completely in the shade the whole time, but that can bounce off the water and still kind of hit their face. So make sure that you're kind of thinking about that too. And then for older kids, we still do, of course, recommend rash guards and stuff, especially if you're going to be out during those high UV hours of the day at the beach, which is common. That's the common time that kids want to be outside to play. They sleep
it's hot
in.
out.
It's spring break, yeah. You're going to go get in the water. You want it to be warm.
That's great.
So still recommend, rash guards covering up as much as we can, but using sunscreen, reapplying every 2 hours. We want at least SPF 15 to 30. They really haven't shown any significant benefit when you get above that as far as it protecting you better. So kind of aiming for at least 15 to 30 on that SPF. Again, mineral-based sunscreens have been proven to be the safest and most hypoallergenic. So if you have a kid that has really sensitive skin, those are those really kind of thick, goopy ones that they don't rub in all the way. They kind of still look a little, ghostly white. The teenagers hate them. They're like, I don't want to wear that. But that would be kind of your best option if you have a kid that really has sensitive skin to protect them.
And it's that reapplying that is so important for kids and adults too, because when you're out there, you think, oh, I've applied it, I'm good. And then 2 hours goes by like that. So you can think, oh, I put sunscreen on, but if you're not reapplying, you could end up with a pretty nasty
especially
sunburn.
if they're in the water, so that's washing some of it off. So
okay, and that's interesting, because I've read some reports about that too that talk about, is there really a benefit to those higher SPFs, 80,
that was
100?
Interesting, you get to 90, it's not really significantly different than a 15 or 30 SPF?
No, they want at least 15 to 30, and like I said, they just haven't proven in the research that anything above that is superior as far as protection, because you should still be applying every 2 hours. So you can't. Some people think, oh, it's 90. That means I can go longer.
It lasts longer.
I use a helmet and gloves.
Do you?
At the beach. I'm sitting there. Yeah.
You must be a hit.
Like Daft Punk. That's who they think I am.
Yes,
just sitting there.
Perfect.
Thank you, Dr. Caitlynn.
Yes, thank you so much. Don't forget that sunscreen.